What's up, family? Welcome back to another video. So, get this video a big thumbs up, and as always, we here to have amazing conversation. In regards of masculinity is the topic, right? So we're gonna get it from Anthony Mackie, who was very well known for being in a Marvel movie. I forgot Captain America. Um, but he gave his input on his sons and how he raised his sons and the masculinity in America and the sentiment of it on how he feel there has been a majority of a subset of men that basically are not masculine as much, or I should say the masculinity in America in the country as a whole has basically died, okay? And then we'll get into the real meat and potatoes because this just prefaced the conversation from what sparked the conversation about masculinity dying. And then we're going to switch over to a podcast known as the Joe Budden Podcast, where Melissa Ford and Joe Budden gets in it debating that, you know, masculinity from a man standpoint and masculinity from a woman perspective, basically giving their opinion on a topic of Anthony Mackie, who you see on the screen right here, or Anthony Mack, the guy who played Captain America. So, with no further ado, let's check out what he had to say first, and then we'll go check out the podcast, and I'll give my opinions, and we'll have a conversation. Right. So that was the conversation, the death of the American male, and let's let him elaborate.
So you got to have a little guard in there, And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different.
All right, there we go. And I want to just add my input because now we're going to have a conversation based on what we're prefacing the conversation is before we get to the podcast, which they're going to give their opinions on it. But my opinion on it is, and I feel like he gave the watered down version of it. I'm going to give it straightforward, right? So when it comes to the masculinity, and he said, for whatever reasons, masculinity is dying. The reasons are they're putting tampons in men's and women's bathroom. Men's bathroom. What the political landscape of individuals basically catering to an agenda, which ultimately they only care about translating into votes, right? So, however, I don't care. Do what you want to do in your bedroom, be what you want to be. You have the freedom to do what you want to do when you want to do it. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like you should be having one type of for example, the LBTQ, I don't feel like you should have one um preference or one group of individuals that have their own preference of what they want to be over a man or over a woman, right? And what happens is when you continue to add fuel to the fire and infuriate that, where you're forcing people and basically forcing it on them to accept this certain type of group of people that have their own preference of what they want to do or what they want to be in or how they want to operate in their bedroom, and the case may be, where you're now putting tampons in men's bathroom. That's wild to me, right? So that's why he is saying that masculinity is dying, and that's my breakdown and receiving or take from it, right? Because he said for whatever reasons. Now we're gonna add the context. We're gonna have a real conversation. So not only did he say that, oh, I tell my 15-year-old when I'm not in the house that you the man of the house. Now, I never had my father tell me that, but I had my mother tell me that. Um, and that may be because my father was roaming the streets and doing what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it, right? Um, for his own personal reasons and, doing things that he shouldn't have been doing, which ultimately led him to jail. That's just the facts. So my mother had to, as his time was going away, um, she had to be the man and the woman in the household. But it also gave me that confidence, right? But if you receive it from a male figure, your father in the household, it gives a young boy, a young man, and a young boy that I was at the time. If I received it from my father, it would have hit a little bit different. Now, comment down below. You can't tell me when your father is telling you as a boy, for the men out there, for the fellas watching this, when your father tells you, you the man of the house, I'm going out to work now, protect your mother, protect your sister, whatever the case may be, protect the household. It gives you a certain type of confidence where you feel so empowered because not only you have the male figure in your life that you look up to that play a part and bring you into this world, but it also realize that they have confidence in you to be able to do it, which in returns gives you the confidence to be able to operate in your own element and operate even when my dad's not around. That at the end of the day, I know that I have the capability of doing what he doing And as that, as a father, and me being a father, that sets the tone for I could do it even better. So it gives them the confidence, but it also gives them the capability of being in the present moment in a controlled environment where yes, they're protecting their environment, they're protecting the household while he's out at work, like he told his 15-year-old, but it also sets the tone in how he'll be able to um think in regards of actually putting that into work or putting that into place on how to protect the household. So when you already being taught in a controlled environment where your father can teach you when you make mistakes, make sure the door is locked, don't answer the door, check the cameras, whatever the case may be. When you get older, as you raise a child up in the way it should go, they will know how to protect the household and do it even better as times evolve, right? Because now we have cameras, we have technology better than ever that could track people down. We even have AI where even if they wear a face mask, they can identify the face through the face mask, right? But back in yesteryear, when your father was growing up, he didn't know all that. He might have had a scrap, he might have had some cameras, and at the end of the day, he had to go out there and put himself on the line if they caught himself coming in and breaking in the household, an example that he used, right? So he's setting a tone, but also letting them be in a controlled environment where they can get the knowledge as they are empowered by their own father to being confident, because it's nothing like your parent believing in you, which then set the tone for you to go out to the world and do great things. Now, when he talked about um when he talked about also his 15-year-old is not having Jordans. When you're raising a young boy and you're raising a young man, you want to teach them that nothing is given to you, but it's earned. And I teach my son this because the simple fact is, then it doesn't create entitlement. Because what you do with very few, you'll rule over many. And that's in the Bible, right? So you have to be grateful, you have to be humble. Because as fast as you get something, you can lose it. But your character is what keep you there. And what I mean by your character that keeps you there is basically you have to have the right moral compass. So just because you don't have Jordans or have what you want to have, are you still going to be the same person when you don't get what you want to get? Now, let's move on to the podcast, right? The Joe Budden podcast and their perspective on it from a woman and a guy perspective, because we already done heard the conversation which sparked this debate on the podcast, this intense debate between Melyssa Ford, a female, of course, and Joe Budden, we all know is a male. But it sparked this debate by basically this conversation that initially they responded to about masculinity dying. So I want you guys to check this out. I'm about to pull it up on the screen in 1 second. But actually, let's do this. Let's try it this way. Go. Here we go.
Yeah, stop. When they start their shit, I'm ready.
Okay. Here we go. Check it out.
All that
All right, we done
internet
heard all
fly
that, so I'm
shit.
gonna fast forward.
Biggest star in my So the death of the community. They will always say yes sir, yes ma'am. Please. You the man, call me. If I'm not there,
How she automatically already prefacing a conversation of the debate by automatically defending her point, but not even, she's missing the point. He never said that he left his 15-year-old child in the house by himself. If you guys seen at the beginning, this is why I wanted to show you the video first that sparked this debate before we actually got into listening to the debate, is because he said, when I am going out to work, that he tell his 15-year-old that you're the man of the house now. Protect your mother, protect the household, and protect your siblings. You are the oldest. That's why I said it's a controlled environment. There's still an adult present, but at the end of the day, giving them that confidence, because at the end of the day, this young man, his son, in this case, Anthony Mackie's son, may have a woman one day. No woman likes a sucker. No woman likes the simple fact that she got to protect herself. What's the whole point of being with a guy, right? So she's automatically being defensive and she's not even listening. Run that back real quick, family.
Part of being a good man, not being highlighted for being a good man? No.
Is it part of being a good man that's not being highlighted as a good man? This is a whole different conversation, but majority men already know. In the majority, I'm not speaking to the minority, I'm speaking to the majority. Majority of men know that everything they do in regards to taking care of their kids, or holding stuff down, men are very underappreciated, okay? So, and first of all, we don't look for participation points. But the reality is, the issue that women think they're forcing on us is, or what he say that has been forced upon us. I don't think it has been forced upon us. It's the simple fact that women have been empowered to feel like they could go get it on their own. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with having your own and doing your own thing. But the simple fact is, these modern women are pushing to be strong, independent, but play big victim. So they want to be a victim of something, but at the end of the day, they feel like they should be awarded for doing it and taking care of their responsibility. You have men out there on an everyday basis that sit there, don't complain, do what they got to do, and they're not appreciated for taking care of their kids. If anything, they're slandered because at the end of the day, the women want more in regard to speak of coming from a trauma perspective, because she feel as though she wants the man to want her and need her and basically to beg on his knees to be with her. And the reality is, if you want to go, then go. Because at the end of the day, we got to overcome it because men love the hardest. We overcome it because we stay productive, because we still got to handle business. Ain't nobody going to listen to us. And just like he said, is it the very thing of men, good men being not being highlighted as good men? We don't care about that. We don't care about being highlighted as it. We actually go out here and get to it and do it. We already know that nobody's going to save us. So the point is, what I'm saying is that you want to play big victim, but you expect more out of a man than you expect more out of yourself. And that's why these women are single. And that's why she's single, because she's so masculine and she thinks she know what she's doing. But in reality is, she need a man to save. You want to be a man, you be a man because that's what you're supposed to do, and doing what man things and doing manly things. The problem is, the point is that Joe Budden is trying to tell to her, but you see how she's trying to overtalk him and stuff, is that no matter a boy or girl, your child is a reflection of you. So whatever you instill in them, it will show. But at the end of the day, if you continue to promote confusion by not teaching them how to be a man, how to be a young boy that's turned into a man, leading a family, being logical, not being so emotionally undisciplined, not pandering to uh people feelings or these modern day woman feelings, not babysitting other people feelings, but actually doing things that's in the best interest of you and those you love, and is bigger than you. And also that will transform you, not only to be a great man, but you'll always be evolving to be the best version of yourself. And translation to that is basically, man men don't pick and choose when they want to do what they need to do and handle responsibility. They handle it because they're supposed to, and at the end of the day, it will yield results that benefit everybody. But you got to be responsible. You got to have a direction. You got to have a sense of purpose. That's why men, you have to focus on yourself, bro, and you are the prize. Everything else will be added unto you. She will fall into and mold in a woman that she's supposed to be, because she understands where you are going, and she also is dating you. And it should be not based on what you have right now, but if she actually enduring to the end and things can be very special when it comes to a relationship standpoint, she should be dating to know that you are not only going in the right direction, but dating based off of potential, in my opinion, and not where you're at right now. Meet me where I'm at, not where you want me to be. But don't date me based on where you want me to be at that point in time, right then and there, like it's supposed to happen right away. So at the end of the day, date off of potential of knowing that this man has shown characteristics as being masculine, as being a man, and having those characteristics as a man to do what men do every single day, not when he feel like it. And also you'll see the potential on what very things can be, and y'all can have great things together and pour into each other. That's what I mean by dating off of potential, but also being in the present moment. Potential, and what I mean from my standpoint to add the context, is long term. In the long term, things are going to pan out and it's beneficial for everything y'all trying to do in regards of y'all working together and actually focusing on 95% of the person that you're with, taking yourself out of it and actually embracing all the good things, 95% of the good things, and not focusing on the bad. But let's continue. Paragraph 4, because I want to get to the intense debate. They're talking about Doshi or whatever. We get it. Basically, Joe Budden is basically saying, look, if there's no man in the house, at least as the father who's teaching them how to be a man, he will lead, even if the son is with the mother and she's a single mom. Now, and that's a fine line with that, because some mothers think that the son, and in my experience, should take place of the father because they don't have no man in the house. So that's considered a son husband, because it's one thing to help the family and help your mother and y'all ultimately doing what's best for each other, having each other best interests, so y'all both can grow. And a lot of times, some people will stop you, even your mother, from you growing bigger because they're scared of where you can become and where you want to come because you're seen as a meal ticket and also the long-term retirement fund. So some women, I mean, some women that are single mothers and the son is in the household and there may be a co-parenting dynamic. And even though the father when he spend time with the father, teach him how to be a man, when he go back with his mother, who's a single mom and doesn't have a man in the household, or not with the father, I should say, and taking care of the responsibility to help his mother, she continues to get content with that and relax and continue to add the pressure to her son to be this son husband and cater to her as a man instead of still raising her child, which is her responsibility, even though he's helping the ultimate family. So eventually he can leave the nest and do great things, but she'll keep him there because it's benefiting her. Right? So that's a fine line with that. So I agree with Joe Budden for a certain standpoint of a son should help his mother if she's a single mother, and y'all build, to help because family come together. You know what I'm saying? You stick together as family, but it has to be the right motives and it have to have each other best interest. Take yourself out of it. Um, and you'll be able to parent effectively and also be an amazing son who also just helped his mother. His mother didn't use them. If anything, they helped each other to be the best version of themselves. And the mother learned from her son, and the son learned from his mother, right? As a single mother household with the son in the household.
And God, I'm not talking terrifying because I'm in my to conduct themselves. In turn,
the bear thing is basically, she basically said she'd rather date a bear than a man. That's what she's talking about. So basically, that was Joe Budden's point. He's speaking to the topic, right, of Anthony Mackie. Now, look at her example she gave.
More that I can talk about that happened before the age of fucking 16 years old. The reality is that you can be in this before the age experience. They're so really fucking bad. Tried to do some shit to me. It was literally like he's coming to the house.
Here we go.
That's what I know.
Because shit.
See, that's what happened when you need to tell her to shut up and listen. See, Joe Budden is speaking to the topic of why masculinity is dying, and also, like he said, about the overall topic of men and masculinity, speaking to men and also legacy building men that should be appreciated, but also the mindset of men giving his inner thoughts and speaking to the topic of Anthony Mackie of saying that what is so hard for it to get that men being men lead, and they teach the men that's leader in the household that's raising a young boy to become a man one day has to know how to take care of responsibility. Now, she goes to the extreme talking about I was 8 years old, left in the house alone. You guys heard it. First of all, the thing is, why would you be left in the house alone as an 8-year-old? And if that was the case may be because her parents worked, her father worked, but she said, my parents worked and my father went to work and they trusted this man. So where was your mother if your father went to work? The story don't add up. I feel like she's using a talking point to basically go to the extreme to basically belittle men for the simple fact is that women needs to stand up and you need to teach your daughter how to protect herself from these evil men. She went extreme left, not even speaking to the topic of the masculinity and how men that actually teaching men traditional roles and actually doing the very thing that's beneficial to lead their families and being the best version of themselves and protect them because men are a protector. That's why she's single, because at the end of the day, and she's not married because she don't know how to listen. That's why men help women save them from themselves. She's too combative. The very thing that she's advocating for about talking about the subset of men that takes on sexual assault and those extreme things. Yes, they are a subset of men that do that, and unfortunately, it's unfortunate, and they shall be basically convicted to the highest extent of the law. I don't condone in that in men sexually assaulting women, but there is a subset of women doing it as well to men. Right? You see now, bigger than ever, and you guys can tell me down in the comments, young men in elementary school where teachers are basically grooming these young men and having sex with them. So if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it from both standpoints, from a man and a woman. But she wants to continue to belittle men and talking about raising your daughters and not even speaking to the topic when we're just talking about how men raise their sons to automatically be an asset in the world, to be viable, to also be worth their salt, to then be able to be beneficial and be a good man, whether he's highlighted or not, which we all know that good men are underappreciated. But men, and Anthony Mackie's standpoint, and I'm Christian, so from the Bible, men are the leaders and the protectors. It's God, man, woman over children. It's that simple. God over man, man over woman, woman over children. But she went extreme left, and this is why you see these modern women who's so big, bad, and independent and strong, and they a big, strong, bad bitch and all that, and they don't need no man, and you see them on TikTok and everywhere else, and really they're doing these little girls, these young women that are going to eventually be grown women, a disservice. So at the end of the day, this woman that's advocating for basically, in my opinion, broken homes, women out there basically having a horrible mindset in regards of being so combative and having such a masculine aura. Okay, you want to be a man and you want to be in a position of a man, do what men do and shut up. It's that simple, okay? So she's advocating for the very thing that is ruining households to this day. And she's not speaking to the topic. She's speaking to her place from trauma. She needs to heal, and that's the problem. The bitterness takes place. But let me know down in the comments what you guys get from this whole thing. I was scrubbing through it a bit because I wanted to get to the point, but also add the context and give my opinion. Love you guys. Give this video a big thumbs up if you got some value from it. Peace.